Thousand Autumns, is a Meng Xi Shi novel. This is an audiobook made by fans for other fans. Disclaimer. The main couple of the story is made up of two men. If you don't like it, don't listen. Thank you. Remember, subscribe and click the bell to stay updated on all the new releases. Enjoy. Chapter 93. Jianghu's configuration will transform again. If you want to go to Xuandu, better later than now. Yan Wushi's one sentence successfully halted Shen Qiao's steps. The latter froze, and then asked, "How do you know I want to go to Xuandu?" Yan Wushi chuckled, "Qiao, your heart is written all over your face, the one who knows you is me, how can I not see it?" Shen Qiao didn't realize Yan Wushi was teasing him again, actually thought that the other was very perceptive, could in one glance see through his processes. With this one skill, although his words and actions were harsh, it was still worth learning from others' strengths to mitigate his own, so earnestly asked for his advice. "I honestly can't call you by that name, even if I were to manage it, you'd get a moment's glee. How would that help? When it comes to appraising worldly affairs or people, I am far behind, so I implore Yan Zongju to tell me truthfully. I am willing to offer something else in exchange." Yan Wushi, delighted, "Fine then, just remember, you owe me one thing." Shen Qiao considered this, nodded, "You cannot ask me to do something that defies the logic of the heavens, or causes harm." Yan Wushi, "Murder to me is like removing a disaster that's wasting life potential, surely it cannot be counted as defying the logic of the heavens. Why aren't you willing to do it?" Shen Qiao furrowed his brow, "If you're going to be this stubborn and unreasonable, then just pretend I didn't ask." He said this and made to leave again, but was held back by Yan Wushi. The latter smiled, Okay, I was just joking. What you consider against heaven's will, this venerable one will not make you do anything like that, this way you won't object." The relationship between the two of them was quite remarkable. If you were to say enemies, this wouldn't be right, but if you were to say friends, it also wasn't how friends typically treated each other. At the very least, Shen Qiao's other acquaintances like Zhao Qianying and Yu Kunqi wouldn't speak to him that way. Shen Qiao wouldn't be able to think of flirt, intimate, these kinds of suggestive words. He just felt that Yan Wushi has always been like this, temperamental, does what he wants. He was used to it by now, and so said, "Then Yan Zongju, please advise." Seeing the flames were close, Yan Wushi knew it was time to stop. "Do you know Han Feng?" Shen Qiao, previously known as one of the three lords along with Multipo, Northern Qi's official Han Feng? "I remember his daughter is one of Wuxia sect's outer disciples. We met that one time in Yes City, but back then my eyesight was bad, so I don't know what she looks like." Yan Wushi laughed, "Yes, I almost forgot that incident. Our Qiao is pretty, no surprise you won her over easily, and she used the chance to flirt with you." Shen Qiao didn't understand. "Why are you bringing her up suddenly, merely because of her relation to Wuxia sect? Is this why you came to Wuxia sect?" Yan Wushi, "Yes, and no. I came to Wuxia sect for 3 reasons, she's only one of them, and the least important one. Han Feng with Gao Wei are friendly with Zhou, she's more loyal than her father, recognizes Gao Shiji as emperor, wants to help restore the country. Because of this relation to Wuxia sect, she very likely may come seeking assistance from her sect, persuading the sect to join their faction." Shen Qiao, Wuxia sect after that calamity, their strength was greatly reduced, no power to intention, and Zhao Zongju wholeheartedly wants the sect to distance themselves from politics and struggle. Even if Han Yiying came herself, she probably would decline this kind of proposal. Yan Wushi disagreed. "You understand, but some people are muddled when they're in the middle of things, may not be able to see things clearly. This matter you should find a chance to clarify with Zhao Qiaying. If Qi wants to restore their country, they will have to side with Tiju. Wuxia sect is small, if they're not self-aware and side with Tiju, in the end things will not end well. Shen Qiao observed, Zhao Zongji doesn't seem like that kind of person. Yan Zongji seems quite prejudiced against her. Did she wrong you previously? Yan Wushi did not follow this train of thought, abruptly changed the subject. Yuan Yun relies on switting that old bald donkey, and the wholly unrelated Hehuan sect, surely to equilibrate who holds power in court. He feels only this way can he control things, but no one is a fool. How can they not see through his intentions? Whether switting or Hehuan sect, they'll seize this opportunity to broaden and expand their interests. Shen Qiao turned this over in his head. Is this why you said earlier that Jianghu's configuration will transform? Huanyu sect has become less visible in their operations, a good idea to wait things out, but if Hehuan sect rushes to expand, you will surely run into conflict with them. Are you not afraid that Huanyu sect will suffer some losses? Yan Wushi smiled carelessly. Silly Qiao, they have Yuan Yun's support now, and are like the sun in the sky. Isn't it better for them to gnaw and rip into each other? Why would I jump out and give them a reason to stand together? In their expansion, they will not overlook Suandu's hand this piece of fatty meat, and your Yushidi is very proud, won't be able to stand the transgression, then there will be conflict. That's why I'm saying, you don't need to rush back to Suandu's hand right now. He paused. Duan Vinyang recruited all these powers to kill me, and acting in parallel, got the father-son pair to maim each other. Do you know the reason behind all this? Shen Qiao nodded. The people from Tuja don't want to see a united north, so Yuan Yang must die, and the Yu that supports Yuan Yang must also die. Yan Wushi smiled. The time you've spent out in the world, looks like it wasn't a waste, but you were cuter when you first woke up and couldn't remember anything, transparent as glass and ice, you believed everything that was said. Shen Qiao's face darkened, because I was easy to trick. Yan Zongji must have liked that. Yan Wushi, satisfied, Qiao knows me well. This person truly didn't save any face. Shen Qiao wanted to turn around and leave, but in the end couldn't do it. Yan Wushi had said a lot just now, some things he could see clearly, but hearing the others' words was like collecting the scattered wiki pieces from the floor. Move cloud see moon, waterfall rocks emerge. You mean, the enemy to worry about, is not Switting nor Hehuan sect, but Tuju. Yan Wushi, Duan Vinyang's plot began the moment he entered the capital to see Empress Ashina Shi, or even earlier, and the Jinglian flower ring he sought out at Su Manor from Su Wei's mother is not a simple ring. Shen Qiao, right, that time Qin Lofuran and Duan Vinyang both said that it is a heirloom. Yan Wushi, I've had some people investigating, and only found out recently the answer, that ring is a heirloom, and not an ordinary heirloom, but evidence that Hulagu defeated all of Tuju's masters back in the day. It's also a symbol of position, it can summon the masters from 20-some Tuju divisions east and west. Tuju's borders are vast, these people are usually scattered across its territory, even Tasper Kagan himself might not be able to mobilize them, but with this heirloom, everything can be accomplished effortlessly. Shen Qiao, from what I know, Duan Vinyang's Wuzhong is top-notch, but I heard he is of mixed blood, so doesn't hold a high position in Tuju. With only this heirloom, I doubt he would be able to gain their allegiance. At this point, he paused. What if Hulagu was still alive? If he were still alive, it could only be him that could righteously use the heirloom to summon Tuju's 20-some masters. If things were really like this, then everything will become more complicated and merciless. More than 20 years ago, Qi Fengge and Hulagu crossed paths, he won by a small margin, and forced the other to make a vow to not enter the Central Plains for 20 years. Now the time period has passed, Shen Qiao's Shizun was dead. If Hulagu was still alive, his Wuzhong would only exceed his previous level. With all these movements on the part of Taju, if he wanted to enter the Central Plains again, the purpose wouldn't simply be to reminisce. When the time comes, who would be able to stop him? Yan Wushi, this is a possibility, but right now there's no evidence, for now we'll ignore him. Shen Qiao returned from his ruminations. Before you said there were 3 reasons you were staying at Wuxia sect, we've only talked about the first, what are the other 2? Yan Wushi smiled, the second, is for you. Shen Qiao, and the third? Yan Wushi, also for you. Shen Qiao grimaced, this poor one with what virtue, what ability, is not worthy of Yan Zongju's attention. Yan Wushi, you do have virtue and ability, why aren't you worthy of my attention? Aside from virtue and ability, don't you also have a beautiful face? There's nothing more I could ask for. At this moment, Fan Yuanbei walked over, came up, and greeted them. Yan Zongju, Shen Daozang, our sect leader has sent word. These days we hadn't expected your arrival, so didn't have time to prepare. Today we've prepared a banquet, and hope that you will attend. Without waiting for Shen Qiao to speak, Yan Wushi had taken his hand. Zhao Zongju is too kind, we will humbly accept. Shen Qiao couldn't pull back his hand. It's not like I'm not going. Yan Zongju, what are you doing? Yan Wushi, Qiao, haven't you heard of the saying arms together walk together? Shen Qiao, that's only for close friends. Yan Wushi, astonished, are we not close friends? Shen Qiao, this poor one has not had that kind of revelation. Yan Wushi, this venerable one under Banbu Peak saved your life, this is a huge favor, right? Shen Qiao, yes. Yan Wushi, outside Weizhou city, I left you to draw out Sangjing Xing, were you not moved in the least? Shen Qiao, I was, but don't forget, I've also saved you many times. Yan Wushi, isn't that the case? In this world how many people can have such life and death exchanges like you and I, to have such a stylish, charming person like myself as your friend, don't you feel blessed? Shen Qiao, can I say no? Yan Wushi, no. Fan Yuanbei beside them watched and gaped, thought Lao Shendaozang and Yan Zongju are very close, no wonder he would bring Yan Zongju with him to be a guest here. It looks like when Yan Zongju was critiquing our Wuzhong, it was probably for Shen Daozang. The disciples really misunderstood that he was looking for conflict. It shouldn't be this way, I'll go back and explain. Fan Yuanbei thought Shen Qiao was a good person, so Yan Wushi must also harbor good intentions. This was a completely beautiful misunderstanding. If Shen Qiao could hear his thoughts, would have told him in no uncertain terms that Yan Wushi had definitely been looking for conflict. The 3 of them had arrived in the flower pavilion, the banquet had already been set up, Zhao Qiaying had hired the cooks from the inns at the base of the mountain to prepare their meal from fresh ingredients. The taste would naturally be better than what was usually prepared by the disciples. The number of Wuxia sect disciples were few, they all fit seated around a large table. Zhao Qiaying stood first to raise her cup of wine, expressed her welcome to Yan Wushi's visit, hoped that he would not mind the austerity here. Yan Wushi was actually very respectful, raised his cup in return. No need for formalities. Zhao Zongju, Qiao's character is gentle and kind, the things he cares about, I don't mind worrying about them on his behalf. Shen Qiao thought, you were the one who followed me, what does this have to do with me? Zhao Qiaying thought, why do these words sound a bit strange? She didn't think on it much further, smiled and put down her cup. although this banquet was specially prepared by cooks invited up the mountain, the taste might be different from Chang'an. I don't know if it is to Yan Zongju's preferences. I hope you don't mind and are at ease. After the opening, everyone in no particular order raised their chopsticks to eat. Shen Qiao remembered the reminder Yan Wushi had made about Han Yiying, and while he was seated next to Zhao Qiaying, took the opportunity to inquire. Zhao Qiaying, a face of surprise, Han Yiying was accepted by Yu Shixian when he was out touring, could be counted as a outer disciple. I've never met her, never mind other relations to Wuxia sect. Thank you Shen Daoxian for informing me. I'll also ask Yu Shixian. We'll keep an eye out on this matter, but Wuxia sect is greatly diminished. Even if she were to look for supports, we would probably not be up to her standards. Saying those last words, she sounded a bit sad. Shen Qiao helped her think of a strategy. What if you were to go to the base of the mountain and accept some disciples of good caliber? Zhao Qiaying Daoxian, you previously were the head of Suan Dus Han. Forgive this question, can I ask how Suan Dus Han recruited new disciples? Shen Qiao, at the base of Suan Dus Han is Suan Du town. The small town is prosperous. Every year Suan Dus Han will send someone to recruit disciples. They'll set up in town. If there's anyone willing to enter the sect, they can come give their name, and then we will arrange things based on their caliber and personality. Zhao Qiaying sighed. Of course, it was me who overstepped. Suan Dus Han is the #1 Daoist sect in the world. They wouldn't need to worry about new recruits. To be frank, with the state of Wuxia sect, Daoxian, you understand, the ones who come up the mountain looking for a master, these kids often don't have any caliber. Their bodies are also past the ideal time to start martial training. Those that have caliber won't venture 1,000 li to come to Wuxia sect, they would rather go to another sect. Things as they are, the situation can only get worse. As the head of her sect, it was natural for her to think about its development in the long run. To uphold a sect, required human talent. If there was no new talent, the desolation of the sect was inevitable. The biggest problem for Wuxia sect was the lack of talent. Under Zhao Qiaying and Yu Kunchi, like Fan Yuanbei and Zhou Yexu, these disciples' caliber were nothing extraordinary. Truthfully, in the future at their peak would only be second or third rank. It would be difficult for them to enter the realm of the first-rank masters. If things were to continue this way, Wuxia sect may end with Fan Yuanbei's generation. Shen Qiao sympathized with her turmoil. As I see it, Zhao Zongju is still young, no need to worry so far ahead. Perhaps in a couple of years you'll recruit a good disciple. Zhao Qiaying forced a smile. I can only hope. Shen Qiao was going to say something else, but from his other side a spoon was held up to him, followed by an affectionate, "Open up." Seeing Shen Qiao glare at him, Yan Wushi smiled, unruffled. Did you forget you owe me one thing? Does eating this spoonful defy the logic of the heavens, or does it cause some kind of harm? End of the chapter. Stay tuned for more BL.